Hello, all. It's been a moment. Well, honestly, it's been like 2 weeks, but they certainly feel like a long time. This is Scrap Kitchen, the podcast slash newsletter where I detail the managing of a farm while planning for next year's farm, one of our very own. I feel it important to say, because I'm not an island and also because interconnectivity keeps us alive, that I am not doing this alone. My beloved and I are working towards both of these goals, towards the growing of food and the managing of a team and the whole farm this year, and towards the creation of our future farm, one in the UK, hopefully. This was made most apparent to me this Thursday when I fell ill. I mean, like 18th century woman on a fainting couch kind of ill. The humours, a sore throat, and a headache took me. My beloved, my partner in all this, went in and planted 8,000 strawberry plants without me. And was I jealous and a little weepy because I wanted to plant the strawberries and work the waterwheel planter and also be able to stand up? Yes. Was I also immensely grateful that I'm with someone who can do it all without me? Absolutely. My rambling point is that I don't want to do this all alone. I don't want to put out the idea that I'm doing this all alone. Not for 1 second do I want to pretend that we will be able to start a farm without help or support. This is not me asking for money, more just a statement of our interconnectedness. Let people help you. Let yourself be helped. It's easier said than done, but it's worth it all the same. Our current farm updates. Over the past week, we have planted 11,000 strawberries. For those of you listening, you can probably hear the exhaustion in my voice. I was only there for 3,000, the final 3,000, and I'm still tired. We've also managed to get 10 beds of tomatoes in the ground, which is roughly 500 plants, but it's also an absolute faff. And this is mostly because we don't have 5-foot landscape fabric. Let me back that up for a second. Landscape fabric is plastic that you put down to protect against weeds. It's pinned in place with these little, usually rust-covered metal staples, and when it works well, it is a joy. It prevents us from having to weed our most valuable crops, and we get to devote more time to their actual care and giving them attention. When it doesn't work well, it's a hassle. It can blow away, crush plants in its path if it's not pinned down correctly. It can leave room for weeds to thrive and outcompete crops if we don't put it on tight enough. And somehow, despite measuring, it is never the 100-foot length of our beds. Not once. Never. Add into this that it's plastic. You have to contend with using a petrochemical product versus hundreds of person hours to keep a place weeded. It's a calculation that every farmer seems to have to do. And if you told me what side I would fall on, especially 5 years ago when I was the most militantly zero waste, I would have laughed. And yet... But when that fabric goes down, it works like a dream. Oh, hi, cat. It's a choir of angels. It's a sunlight from a cloud. It is glorious. And here's the kicker. It does not come in 5-foot strips. It comes in 4-foot and 6-foot. And our beds, from the centre to centre, are 5-foot. Which means to cover all the exposed dirt and the paths and to put the fabric as close as possible to the beds, we have to get a little crafty. We have to alternate our 4-foot and 6-foot pieces. Not only that, but we have to put down a piece, plant, and then put down the next piece so that it's actually right up against the plants. We can't lay them and dig massive holes for the tomatoes through the fabric. So it works well, but laying the fabric in between plantings is a slow task. None of this is to say that it isn't worth it. When we told the team we were going to be reducing the exposed soil under the tomato plants, which sounds like a very dry conversation to be having, they were genuinely relieved. Last year we spent countless hours pulling weeds that threatened to swamp our field tomatoes. It is very worth it. It's problem solving, and that's fun also. But this is to point out that we have so many small decisions, so many intricacies while farming that add up to hours of work either created or saved. We have so many checks and balances, like plastic versus people's time. And this is literally just the landscape fabric. This is just tomatoes. We haven't even talked about pre-burning holes. And honestly, I won't, because I can feel people already getting bored with my chat. And if I'm wrong, yeah, drop me a comment. But like, realistically, how long do you want to talk about landscape fabric? Farming is decision upon decision. It's making do. It's solving problems. And with each moment, I love it more. But anyway, this is all to say we planted tomatoes. This coming week is a big push. It's crunch time, if you will. We now have to plant summer squash, tatsoi, green onions, aubergine, and peppers. This week. Or else. Wish us luck. For those of you asking, yes, we are still harvesting over 150 pounds of asparagus every day. Even Mondays and Tuesdays, which are technically our weekends. It's looking like it's slowing down, but that won't mean it's going to stop for good for another couple of weeks. So all we need to do is see it through to ride out this storm. And thankfully, UPick has opened for the asparagus. People picked over 140 pounds this Sunday alone. Oh wait, it was Saturday. Too many days. But that's 147 pounds that we didn't have to pick ourselves. And more important than that, it is so wonderful having people begin to come back to the farm. The general public engaging with the dirt, with the growth, with the source of their food. It is so great to be a part of. It's honestly an honour. I also managed, just in time, to print several UPick stamp books, which if you've been listening to a while, you might recall me going on about. Children seem really excited to like stamp off the vegetables that they've picked. So it was definitely worth the frantic letterpress printing and folding that went into it. And now for future farm updates. In our downtime, which technically has been 2 afternoons this week, as we've come in on both of our days off in the morning to pick asparagus and then pack it, we've managed to push forward on our business plan. We started getting into the real nitty-gritty of how much of what we will sell to where, roughly when, and how much we need to sell to survive. And if that feels slow, because it feels like we've been doing this business plan for months, which we have, I know. But we're also living in the middle of it right now. Our writing time is snatched between exhaustion and everyday farming and a semblance of a social life. We are getting there slowly. We're also looking into an incubator scheme, or incubator schemes throughout the south of England, one of which is in Devon, and we're aiming to continue conversations with them at the moment, as well as submit a tailor-made business plan to them ASAP. So that is taking priority. If not there, then the land match is going to get our business plan, hopefully before June. Hopefully. Maybe. The visa application also looms, and the thousands of plants that need planting this week, so no biggie. Yeah, that's where we are on the future farm. Slow and steady. So that's the update, the plan, the lowdown. Nothing major. See you next week. Bye.